All right, welcome to our episode of Learning Together. And I have the honor of introducing one of my friends, one of my patients, one of my future colleagues, and future Dr. Monica Aguilar. She's a pre-medical student, and we're going to talk about her, her story. So what's up? Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming.
Me. Thank you, of course.
What time is it? It's 10 o'clock at night.
It's late, yeah.
The pre-medical student and the Dr. G here in the... always grinding, right?
Prime study time right now is at night.
So what motivates you to go into medical school? Why medical school? What's the story?
Honestly, my family, my dad's a cardiologist here in South Florida, and his story is pretty crazy. So, back in Cuba, there's actually no college. So
he's Cuban.
Yes, he's Cuban.
All right, and he moved over to the States.
Correct, yeah.
That's a hard transition.
Another story. So he won the visa lottery. So every year.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So every year, Cuba does this visa lottery thing where 5 families win. Obviously, instead of a money lottery, you win a visa over here to the U.S. So he won along with me and my mom. And so we came over here when I was 4 months old. So I was only a baby.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was a cardiologist back in Cuba. We moved over here. And then, he had to start basically from scratch. Obviously no medical school, but the whole fellowship and the residency and all of that stuff. We jumped all over from New York, Puerto Rico, him basically just trying to find his passion again. And, that in itself is a big commitment, just watching him learn how to speak English, okay, because mind you, he came here at 30 years old, not knowing even how to say hello.
Uh-huh.
So that in itself is a huge commitment, learning how to speak a new language at age 30, learning how to literally start your career all over again from scratch, and raising me. So, that to me is the biggest motivator. Both my parents being physicians, that to me is, my biggest dream is to make them proud. So,
what's your mom's story? I heard she's a doctor too.
Yeah, so she's a pathologist. She's not as active anymore because she suffers from a histamine problem. It's kind of like a chronic inflammatory disease. So, she's not able to work as much.
Okay.
But yeah, she does have her pathology license here in the U.S. and, she practices every now and then.
So she graduated medical school in Cuba?
Correct, yeah.
And then she came over here and she became a pathologist?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And let's practice licensing, because I have so many patients of mine, so many friends, neighbors and stuff that they actually didn't win the lottery. I know a lot of people from other countries, Colombia, Venezuela, and different countries that they also won the lottery in different aspects of not necessarily the medical field. That made it a little easier. Because when you don't speak the language, and you're going to take these board exams, and every stage is very different. Every state is very different. Mm-hmm. Some states reciprocate licenses. Some other ones take residence, and then after you're a resident and you pay the piper many years of work, they give you a reciprocating license, etc. Yeah. It took a lot. So now your dad became a doctor. Your mom is a doctor. They begin their practice, and they beginning to live the American dream, which is fantastic. And do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have 2 younger sisters. Yeah.
How old are they?
19.
Oh, don't ask that.
No. 19 and 13. So,
are they inclined to medical field too?
So the middle one, she wants to go into dentistry as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so she wants to follow my grandma's footsteps. My grandmother.
Hey, how about Dr. G? What, I'm not popular?
Well, she hasn't met you yet, so.
Okay, all right. So
maybe one day.
That's the deal. Little sis gotta come meet Dr. G.
And then my youngest sister, she wants to be a vet. She loves animals. If you go to our house in Parkland, we have roosters, hens, we have some ducks, we have a turtle, we have
That's
dogs,
amazing.
cats. It's a big farm. So, I've been watching her grow up and grow this huge love for animals. That's kind of the
Real
goal.
caring. You care for animals.
Yeah.
It'll probably be easier to care for the human beings that are so destructive, especially nowadays.
Right.
It's sad. All right, so now, you went through college. Mm-hmm. What was your major?
Bio.
So how hard was it to be admitted to biology? Let's say we have a foreign doctor, and they have to go through the foreign doctor's training, and et cetera, et cetera. But now you are a high school graduate, or maybe you moved from another country to the United States, with or without the residency papers and et cetera. People will find their ways. Now, how hard was it to be admitted to the college and then to get the biology degree, and not only in biology, but also I heard that you have like an outstanding GPA, which is the graduate point for admissions at any college.
Yeah.
How was that?
So, taking the bio classes was not difficult. I love biology. That's my favorite subject. But, chemistry and physics, that's a different story, all the way through organic chemistry and more difficult courses like that, higher level mathematics and things like that are things that you're never going to use as a doctor. I bet you don't use trigonometry. Do you ever think about that? Like,
No, because I use my computers for that.
Right. So, it's things like that
That's
that
a fact.
you don't use them in your everyday life.
But that's a
practicing.
building block
Exactly.
to understand the algorithms within the, say, trading and understanding the, say, Fibonacci tracing. There's so many things that you would actually use. The basic foundation of education. Nobody goes through a process of academics without understanding that the curriculum wasn't built for you to be happy. The curriculum was built for you to have stepping stones to learn forward. Like in my case, I remember not liking very much a few subjects, which I reserve I have the right to remain silent on that one. But then again, later I understood the why, the reasons why, right? So everything is a building block. But when you're very specific into, most people go biology, chemistry, pre-medical, pre-dental, dental, medical, and then you go to your after-grad, right? Did you take any course in finance, business administration, marketing?
You know what? I personally did not, but I am very into, becoming financially literate. I think that's a big skill that you need to have. That's somewhere where I think that my parents should kind of pick up a little bit on, because they have that, kind of like that Cuban mindset, work hard until you're 80 years old. My dad's 55. He doesn't plan on retiring until.
Because he's very passionate, probably?
Yeah.
And then when you say financial savvy, as compared to the old schooler time, maybe his investment portfolio is more prone towards one market.
Mutual funds and
the
just,
securities.
Right, of course.
Okay, and then you're saying that you're more into the financial independent, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? What do you do for a living?
So, I was inherited a house. I sold that last year, and I pretty much put everything into the market right before the crash. So I'm suffering a little bit right now. But, I'm in it for the long run. And I think that's where a lot of people my age, they freak out. They see everything go down and then they sell. No, you buy low, sell high. So right now, this is the time where I kind of have to just bite my teeth, even though I know you don't like it.
Don't grind. Only grind meaning work, but don't grind your teeth.
Right. But yeah, just kind of stick it through. And 10 years from now, I know I'm going to be happy that I didn't sell anything.
So financial savvy, how do you get to that level? Because I can give a whole ballpark financial education on this. What did you do? What are you doing right now besides your academics? So I also heard that you were in the beauty pageant. So there's another story that we got to talk about. So tell me about what do you do for the financials besides the real estate selling? Are you into the trading markets?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So it's basically just a lot of growth stocks and some ETFs. If you're not familiar with ETFs, some good ones are the S&P 500. QQQ is a very good tech stock. I'm in Vanguard's VTI, which is basically like the total stock market index fund. So it basically follows the top 500 companies in the US. And I think that's better than, putting all your eggs into one basket. Because say, if you put 300K into Tesla and Tesla falls tomorrow, you're screwed. Versus if you just invest into something like VTI or the S&P 500, you're buying a little percentage of many companies. And if you believe in the U.S. economy as a whole, you're set for life. And you're basically
in quotes at a 5%, 6% interest return rate.
A little higher than that. VTI last year was 22%.
You have the ability to diversify risk.
Correct.
With these broader investment portfolios. So you've been studying your language and your lingo, the way you speak is very formal. Somebody that knows financial management of these type of trading capabilities. There's a lot of trading markets that you can do, from the commodities to the stock market, the shorts, the futures. You can do crypto. You can do NFTs. You can go into the metaverse, and then you can go into real estate, and you can diversify in so many avenues. Right. But the key component is education. Regardless of who is going into any market, it's education. Set good parameters for risk management, and then position yourself, because you're going for the long run. You have the ability to have higher risk, longer terms, being so young. As your parents go into the second, third, and fourth generation of their lifestyles, then they'll have the desirability to have less risk, more conservative. That's why they go into the mutual funds. I always say 50% of securities holds you long term, 25% can hold moderate risk, and 25% can hold, higher returns, higher risk. But if you set your parameters for consolidating your profits, you take out the profits and you put it into a different market.
Everything is a balance.
Everything has to be a balance. Again, you're gonna have your ups and downs. Maybe you buy low and the highs will stay low. Yeah. Maybe you buy on the low of an investment portfolio and then it'll drop lower than what you expected it to be. So what is your risk and financial ability to put money away so you can use it for trading? That is not for your living expenses and not for your educational support. That in the long run you are going to be able to use this money to hold a bigger portfolio. Exactly, and that's important. Look. The fact is that either you are grinding for the income making, or you're making your income make money for you in a passive mode, which is the real estate, or if you put it in the middle term with some portfolios that will give you some 5-10% return that is conservatively. But always remember, Uncle Sam loved those money takers.
Yeah.
So every time you put a trade and you take a trade and you take the profit, Uncle Sam is taking the profit for you. So be very vigilant about how you handle your portfolios so that you can actually understand the sharing of the pie with the government if you want to do it legally. There's too many people that do too many things that they go out of the scope, and that becomes part of how you manage your personal life as well. When you start taking cuts in your financial markets and you start taking cuts in your personal life, you start taking cuts, your professional life is going to have that type of style.
Right, it's going to mirror. For sure.
Yeah, so don't take cuts in your education. Don't take cuts that are going to create anxiety, because then the psychology of the professional, the psychology of the athlete, the psychology of the entrepreneur is going to be affected. Right. The results may be short term, but in the long term, something is going to be affected. So balance your nutrition. Fast-paced food restriction that takes away a lot of body weight may have consequences on your liver, your kidney, your heart, your brain, your energy levels. You go from, glucogenic to ketogenic, and then you go into acidity, and now you are less than alkalinized, destructive.
Right.
Well, almost like a race car. You put the wrong fuel, the wrong tires, the wrong pressure, you're going to run the car to the extreme and you're going to blow up.
Yeah, right? There's so many diets now, keto diet,
yeah.
vegan diet, and all these different things that are a little bit unnecessary. I think that if you're vegan because you can't tolerate meat or you can't tolerate dairy, that's completely fine, and that's 100% your choice. But if you're doing, for example, like the keto diet, I think you might need to take a step back and reassess, because your ketones are going to be through the roof. I think everything is kind of like in moderation. You can definitely lose weight while eating carbohydrates, while eating sugar. It's all about moderation,
about how you utilize the resources.
Exactly. Yeah.
Medical and dental students, proper nutrition will feed not just your brain, but your muscles to sustain long hours, endless nights of education. Sugar will be your first choice and your first mistake, as well as caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
Proper protein, balance to minimalistic rather than the abundance at the one shot. And maybe adding an extra meal instead of having 2 meals because you're starving, because you're broke, because you don't have the ability to afford the best. Go for shorter volumes, more constant, and having good snacks, healthy snacks. Stay healthy, guys. Any power drink, any energy drink, any carbonated drink, anything that has a lot of sugar will give you a boost for the minute and a dead drop later.
Yeah, you'll
no
crash,
wonder,
100%.
and this is very important. No wonder why you go to school and you're like this in school, because your sugar peaks. And then you have the extreme of the people that go into extreme exercises, and then they go so, I don't want to judge exercising while you go to school, because that's very important, but be moderate, because you need your recovery. Recovery sleep, whether it'll be 2 hours or 3 hours, or you take a power nap. That's what I used to do. I would take
what
a
are your
50
thoughts
minutes.
on sleep? Because I know you don't like to sleep very much.
I have a saying that it's been my life. It's been my legacy. I said, I want to be the guy that lived the most when I was awake and alive, and did the most I could for myself, my family, and my society, than being the one that rested and slept the most. And what happened if tomorrow it's not coming back?
I see what you mean.
So resting for me means a few hours of proper recovery, proper oxygenation, proper breathing all day. Power nap means 10, 15, 20 minutes of mindset recovery, a quick sleep that actually goes profound. And when you wake up, you're like, let's go. When you're putting this type of mindset processes, your computer chip is ready to go 24/7.
Right.
And when 24/7 is not enough, you are maybe like 27/9. That's like 9 days a week, 29 days, 29 hours. You are going to add that extra.
Right.
Catapulting the mindset. Proper fuel means proper nutrition. Understand your system. Your body speaks to yourself. You're studying, you're always having headaches. Could be inappropriate posture, or too much caffeine, or too much sugar,
Not enough protein.
or not enough proteins, or not enough oxygenation. There's so much going on around you. And then you have blood types.
Right.
People don't speak about this. There's different blood types for the different nutritional patterns. So be aware that most doctors, if they don't look into your blood, most nutritionists, they don't look into your blood. They don't know what you can consume, eat, or process. That's why you have so many people with gastric disturbances, GI disturbances, and then, colon disease, because you put in the improper fuel to the wrong blood type, and now you're becoming either allergic, you're
Or
becoming intolerant, and then you're developing all these kind of medical conditions that only God knows. And then to top to that, you have the non-organic, if you can call organic anything today,
Oh, yeah.
environmentally exposed to the wrong, say, microorganisms, environmentally exposed to the wrong fast-paced growth. I wouldn't want to get involved into this because then it takes away the willingness. Be happy. Be thankful. Take naps as much as you need to, but always understand that being awake in the grind needs the proper fuel.
Yeah, more does not equal better.
No.
Not at all.
And that's
100%.
why less of whatever you do for nutrition, more continuously, keeps your body at a pace. When you are this type of people that you need 10 hours, 12 hours because you cannot function, you already put in negativity.
Correct.
Guess what? When you're in the health field, if you're able to sleep every day 10 to 12 hours and you keep the 4.0 GPA and you can do a full-time job and still go to the clubs and go to parties and go to events and be part of the politics of college, meaning be part of the associations, be part of different... I never went part of a fraternity. I don't know what it is to go to a fraternity. I didn't have time for that.
Right.
It wasn't part of my mindset.
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted to be. This is funny because, I spoke about efficiency, right? And I did college in 2.5 years. I didn't graduate with my summer class. I graduated with the winter class. I was already in dental school. I came back to receive my degree because I finished in summer. So basically, I finished summer, but I was already admitted to the dental school.
So you were
People don't
right
understand.
there.
I believe that nowadays, you need a full undergraduate degree to be able to be accepted to certain universities. My time, you could have had just I think it was like 72 basic science plus the some extra classes, which we call it the fillers, but those are the ones that you don't like.
Yeah. The filler
And if you did good in the admission test and you did a great interview and you have extracurricular activities, that's it.
Yeah,
A lot of
things have
people don't
become
have a
little
full
more
degree.
Difficult now. Like you need, 120 credits versus the
124, right?
120. 120. Yep.
I graduated with 132 credits from college. I was crazy. I was crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
but I always been like that. I
Right.
mean, to me,
Like
Sunday
high
to Sunday is the
achiever,
same
yeah.
thing as what's the difference between Monday to Friday to, Friday to Sunday? It's just another day that it's in a calendar.
Yeah.
I'm always on the mindset going.
Right. And I think that another thing that is often dismissed is high functioning depression. So we have depression, which is
What's that?
So there's several types. So your typical depression is
What's depression?
What fits the prototype of someone who's you're not you're obviously depressed. That's what the
What's
definition-
being depressed?
I mean, I guess no willingness
Erase.
to
Erase. No negativity.
There you go.
No dysfunctional
Yeah.
diagnostic that has been based upon science or the imbalances of chemicals or the imbalances of minerals or perhaps trauma from accidents, whether it be physical or emotional. You are going to be a dental student. You're going to be a medical student. You are in the health field career. Nothing that is negative. You don't call upon tumors, cancer. You don't call upon hypertension, hypercholesterolemia. You don't call upon nothing that brings your body to think about disease. Everything that we do is happiness, health, energy, beauty, motivation, success. We don't speak about that. We don't speak about nothing like that. Always remember that. Right. But depression is go ahead.
So, I mean, you know, I've never been depressed. You know, I don't have any family members, thank God, that have been depressed. But, you know, I do compete in pageants. And last year we had Chelsea Christ. You remember her?
I remember her very well. I met her in Atlanta. She was Miss USA.
She's a very
you know, I've been involved in the pageantry for like 15 years or so.
Oh, yeah. She was a very stunning, very intelligent young
Super
woman.
smart.
She was a lawyer. She was an attorney.
New York.
She was Miss USA. She was living in New York City. So she has what we would call, you know, the perfect dream life. And
according,
you know,
to the visuals of what people believe.
Of course. So she has what we would call clinical high functioning depression, which is basically where, you know, you're an overachiever. You like to, you know, be the best in everything 100% all the time. And then you slowly but quietly burn out without anyone noticing. So I think that's something that needs to be, you know,
addressed.
Of course, 100%.
Very important. Now we're going to take a little, in quotes, break from my philosophy. I'm going to put myself as a dental medical student. The first rule of thumb is diagnostics. Whatever is not within the standard of being okay, being right, or being within predictable parameters, your responsibility is to ask around, what do you think about this? What do you think this is? What do you think about these associations of symptoms or probable conditionings on the skin, the heart, whatever you see that is different from what is called within normal limits, DW, like WNL, right? Within normal limits, you need to remember, ask. If you're feeling too fatigued, that could be signs of hormonal, like, right, instability. It could be vitamin D3 instability. If you're feeling restless, it could be thyroid, it could be heart condition, it could be kidney disease, it could be extra fatigue, it could be low mineral count like magnesium or calcium, it could be low potassium. If you're feeling hyper, it could be high potassium. There's so much that the body gives you as signs. If your eyes are always red, it could be a condition that you're putting too much efforts, right? If you're having like the big saggy eyes, like sometimes I do, that's because you're looking at me wrong. I look at myself beautiful. But that maybe lack of that sleeping that recovers the body function. If the skin is too dry, the hair it's falling. If your nails are cracking, if you don't have good oral health, then consider yourself in the state of neglect, or that person in state of neglect. Ask the person, how are you doing? I look at their eyes. Most people that have a psychological denial, they'll look away. And they'll say, I'm good. It's the first sign. Yeah. Most people that are ready to tell you a different fact than the truth, they'll look away, they'll look down in order to accommodate the non-truthful answer. So always, as a doctor eyesight, being truthful, and give me time to think about the answer. And then ask again, are you really okay? You don't have to give me the answer now, but we can talk about it the next time we see each other. Because that next time you see each other, if you didn't ask the question twice, maybe the last time you saw that person. And that's what happened probably to our beloved friend. It's easy to judge because unfortunately, in her situation, she decided to become an angel and she jumped over the balcony of her apartment. And the problem with that is that I, now going back to my philosophy, I have people within my close family that they took their life away. And I only pray for their souls to be at ease because I could never afford even thinking about taking my life away. Because of my kids, my parents, my uncles, my friends, I have gratitude to life. I am bound to be over 120 years old by the time that God decides that I'm ready to go. Like I am projecting myself as so much a human being of being necessary in this world that I can't afford to be that, in quotes, not selfish, but make that choice. That is not in my choice. That is not in my question. I don't even think about it.
Not an option.
No, it's not an option. Simple as that. So anything that deals with not feeling, say, similar to your peers, and I'm not talking about you taking metabolic activators, fat burning, calorie cutters, anything. You need to understand that whatever accelerates, whatever takes away from the normality of a normal functioning human being is going to have consequences later. Yep. at the medical or at the psychological. But you, the future doctor, psychology, you have to be 100% structure. Emotionally, which is the connection of your psychological status, the brain and the body functioning, you have to be super ready to understand what makes you happier, work for it. What takes away happiness, take it away. No, you can't. Sometimes it could be a family. Sometimes it could be a relationship. Control it. You heard that I never said makes you sad, makes you like unhappy. I said less happy. Happier. So always putting positive, energetic words to motivate and invigorate your outcomes is what will make you
successful
or allow yourself to be breakable. So what's up with that? You ready to face medical school?
I am.
4 years?
4 years.
And then?
And then 3 years dermatology residency.
Dermatology
So
residency.
7 years.
So we have one exam to take, which is the MCATs. Then we have medical boards. Then you have another admissions for the dermatology.
Right.
And then you have to pass the dermatology boards. So there's 6 hardcore coming.
Right. So you have to be a good test taker.
You have to be
100%.
mindset positive that we pass.
Right.
So in a few years, I'm going to have dermatologists.
There you go. And I can do your Botox for free.
So remember something. It's not just your medical field, which is what you love to do.
Yep.
In order to accomplish what you love to do, you have to do what you have to do. Whether it will be financial world, she's chosen to go into the investment portfolios and grind. And you know, you've done the pageantry, you've modeled as well. What else have you done?
So basically my world in pageantry, you know, I'm kind of taking a little bit of a break now. I'm hopefully going to compete in Miss Florida, you know, next year. I'm pretty sure that it's in February as of right now. But yeah, I've competed internationally twice. In the Philippines as Miss Earth, I represented Cuba, my home country.
Wow.
And then in Egypt 2 years ago, I competed in Miss Intercontinental where I represented the U.S. So I've represented 2 different countries. And, you know, it's definitely been a learning point for sure. I mean, just being able to interact with people from different cultures, you know, I never expected that, you know, people from Japan and people from Egypt and people from South America and South Africa, you know, we're all intertwined, you know, we're all people, we're all human. We're really not that different, you know, we're all just basically the human race.
But at the moment of the competition, because I know from 15 years of experience, you go in every pageant, male or female, they go with a winning attitude.
Yeah, of course. 100%.
They know they're going to win, and if they don't win, they win there representing the country. So I always tell them, look, the platform and the experience that you gain from this is another catapult for your success. Use it to your advantage. And this is exactly the same mentality for anything you do in life. You got to go in as a winner. When I used to race in any of the, I don't know, numerous different athletic competitions that I went, I always went thinking winning. Won. And if I didn't win, I was not happy, and I would come back to win, and I would come back to win until winning was the predictable results, and then I stayed winner.
Especially in pageantry, it's very difficult to not do that, you know, and I had to kind of train myself to basically just like a horse, you know, do not look at either side, basically just, you know, compare yourself to yourself only. And, you know, it's pretty difficult because social media is so into pageantry. They're posting their, you know, their top 5 favorites or their top 15 favorites. And, you know, if you see one where you're not in the top 5 and you freak out, and, you know, I mean, that's what happens to a lot of the girls is their self-esteem, you know, it basically just flies down through the roof. And, you know, I think that's definitely, you know, I think that the deciding factor between first runner-up and the winner is what your mindset is. You know, I think that translates into how you speak, how you walk, how you treat others. And, you know, that's definitely not something that can be learned overnight. That's definitely something that you have to keep training yourself, you know, keep talking to different people who have been in your shoes, keep, you know, on social media, you know, just following past queens or past people who have done what you want to do or where you want to be, and just, you know, study them. Study what they do, study how they talk, study how they dress. And, you know, I think that's definitely the stepping stone into getting
So
where you want.
basically from the medical, genetical, indulgence going forward to the pageant to competition and to, you know, being a winner in whatever and everything that you've done in life, winning starts from your heart and your mindset. right? It's a combination process. I've seen so many pageants that they're like kind of like their favorite, the ones that people know they're gonna win, and all of a sudden she trips, and then she lost the points. So even people that have practiced hundreds of hours of passerella, people that have practiced hundreds of hours of public engagement and speech, they mumble. And they ask a question that they're not comfortable. And instead of answering with the same question to be rephrased, they talk about something completely different and oblivious.
Yeah,
and
they get sidetracked.
Yeah.
And people notice that.
Because they're fatigued. It's genius 3 weeks, 2 weeks of practices and tries and everything else, plus the endless hours of going everywhere in their own nations. And you go to this new location, new facility, new country, and now you got to compete with like 40, 50, 60, 80 under girls, whatever the number would be at that pageantry. It's very exhausting. And then you have the dehydration, the malnutrition, because they don't drink, they don't eat enough, so that they stay as, as let's call it as mega fit as possible. And then it comes to them. It's combos at the time of almost conquering their medical or dental degree, their successful title. Why? Because it's mental stage, planning, goal setting, and following through, knowing exactly that proper nutrition will feed your brain, that the connection of your mindset, your brain processing and your thinking process as you speak through, not just verbally, but also articulated language, body language.
Right.
All of this is important because when you're doing a pageantry test and you have contestants with you and you're going to go into an interview at a medical dental school, you need to be 100% connected. Yeah. Because when the interview, and I was one of those guys that had to interview the pre-dental students, I would ask them questions and they would answer something completely different. And I felt bad because I was there myself, but I was always very self-centered, very focused. And I said, I am going to rephrase the question so that you have the opportunity to express yourself once you've heard my question properly. Look at me. If I'm asking you about how many eggs are in this basket, I don't need to know about the color of the basket, nor if I'm going to cook the eggs afterwards. And that's a simple answer that people are asking. There's 6 eggs in the basket that you show me, Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you very much. You passed. Being tired, being fatigued, malnutrition, undernourished, and also nervous creates the perfect scenario for missing your test, failing your test, failing the physicals, failing the personal interviews, and then when you're ready for judgment time, when you have an emergency patient, you don't know what to do because you were not trained to act and react by immediate instinct based upon your professional behavior and education. Yeah. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So I am very confident that your career is going to be very successful. I am very confident that whatever you go into, be it the medical field, the financials, and everything else, because you're determined. And being determined and being connected with taking away the negativity and the doubtfulness that we all go through as we grow up, for sure. You're going to be a great physician. And I want to welcome you to your medical degree, and hopefully we will be able to be part of that success. We'll be able to hopefully one day accompany you to see that degree happening. And it doesn't matter how many, awards and honors you get. A doctor is a doctor, and I'd rather have a doctor with a great heart and good education than the one that is a valedictorian, but it has no emotions to the people. Yep. So thank you so much for your time. I am honored to share this, this time with you.
Thank you. Of course. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That was wild.
That was fun.
Right? Yes.